This is card number 2 that we made at Stamp Club in April of 2024. This fun fold does have lots of pieces, but it is not a hard card to make. So the first thing we're going to do is some scoring, and then we can get the scoring tool out of the way. So let's start with our card base, which is a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I am scoring it at 2 1/8 and at 4 1/4 inches. And I'm moving that out of the way. That cardstock is Sweet Sorbet. Now I have a piece of Parakeet Party that measures 4.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and the score mark is at 3.5 inches. Now that's all the scoring, so we can take the Simply Scored tool and set it aside. All right, some of the other pieces that we'll be using. I have a white piece that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's for the inside panel. Then I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. My main piece of designer series paper, my print that I want to emphasize the most, is 3 inches by 4 inches. And then I have a second piece of DSP that coordinates with it that is 2 inches by 5 1/4 inches. You'll see that I've cut out 2 circles from the Stylish Shapes dies, one out of Sweet Sorbet and one out of white. And then I've got that Parakeet Party piece of cardstock that is 3/4 of an inch by 3.5 inches. I have a little scrap of ribbon there too. We're going to use that at the end for embellishing. So I'm using my bone folder to crease very well, to burnish those creases that I made. I made those score lines, and now I'm folding them and reinforcing those folds. All right, I'll do the same thing to the piece of Parakeet Party. By the way, Sweet Sorbet and Parakeet Party are both colors that are retiring at the end of April. And so you do want to stock up on cardstock and get a re-inker if you haven't done that already, because those will be unavailable beginning May 1st. All right, now I'm going to make a little mark with a pencil on my card base. This is actually the side of the card, but I have it turned so that that portion is at the bottom, and I'm measuring in 1/2 inch from each side. That little pencil mark is going to help me to put this green piece of cardstock on and have it perfectly centered. So on the green cardstock, I'm going to put adhesive on the smaller flap. And then it's going to get centered right between my pencil marks and right as even with the edge of the Sweet Sorbet cardstock as you can get it. I was glad that I used my liquid glue because I did need to shift it a little bit to make sure that it was straight, both between the pencil marks and the edge of my cardstock. So now you can see that that piece has been attached. Now we can take our basic white cardstock and we're going to attach that on the inside of the card, and this is also going to cover up that little green flap mechanism that we just attached to the card base. If you wanted an even more seamless look, you could make that flap that I did in green, you could make that in the same color as the card base, then it would kind of blend in. But I really liked the combination of colors for this card design. All right, surprisingly, we're almost done creating this fun fold. I'm going to attach the piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock next. Center it there on that green panel. Then the next layer that's going to go on top of this is our designer series paper. And so we'll attach that and layer it right in the center of each of those layers. The pops of color in this paper are absolutely beautiful. This is a newer paper. It has something to do with zinnias. There's another word that goes with it, but it's zinnias, and the colors are really beautiful. All right, I'm taking that little strip of Parakeet Party. I'm going to attach it to the front of the card using a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, again, so that I have a chance to slide it if I'm not quite getting it positioned where I want it in the first place. So it's positioned fairly close to the bottom of that panel, maybe about an inch from the bottom. And I'm just pressing that into place. And then I want to eyeball the card, how it's going to look, and see if that strip looks straight, which I did need to slide it a teeny bit to straighten it out. Now we can go on to our secondary piece of designer series paper, also from that same designer series paper called Zinnia. And we'll attach that piece to that front smaller flap. Okay, it's time to do our stamping. So I'm going to, well, you'll see here, I take my bone folder and re-burnish all of those folds. The card, because it's got two different flaps, it kind of wants to pop open. So you really want to press those folds. Now I'll take my Parakeet Party ink pad and a stamp. And the stamp comes from a set called, it's a retiring set. It's called Circle Sayings. It had a coordinating circle punch, and I haven't checked to see if that one has sold out or not. A lot of things that are on the last chance list, because they're retiring at the end of April, are selling out very fast. All right, a little bit of glue on the back of that white circle, and it can get attached to the slightly larger Sweet Sorbet circle. Those circle dies, as I mentioned, are from a set of dies called Stylish Shapes. And Stylish Shapes is going to still be around for another year. It does appear available in the 2024-25 product offerings. All right, I've got some dimensionals on the back of that circle. And we'll just peel off the backings. Now we can attach it to the card front right over that Parakeet Party strip of paper. By the way, I will tell you that the colors in the zinnia paper, there's a bright green, and now that I'm actually talking about it, it might be lemon lime twist, and I'm letting you know that if you have some Parakeet Party left over, it will work. All right, I've pulled out the sequins, these shiny sequins, and you can see that any of the colors would work. And I've done this card using the green sequins, using the pink sequins. This time I've picked the ones that are kind of a peachy yellow color. So just 2 of those on the sides of your words just gives it a little bit of sparkle. Here's one with the green sequins. And here's another one with the pink sequins. I think at Stamp Club it was a toss-up. People chose whichever one they felt looked good to them. All right, I've got just a piece of petal pink ribbon that is long since retired, but I have this left. And I cut a short piece, maybe about 4 inches. And all I've done is tie a knot right in the center of it. We're not going to mess with any bows on today's card. Shorten up those ribbon tails a little bit. And then a fast and easy way to apply a knot, or had it been a bow, is with glue dots. So I'm just going to take the knot part of my knot and press it into the glue dot, peel it off of the backing sheet, and then it's ready to go onto the card. Couldn't be much easier than that. And there we have our Fun Fold card. Again, this was card number 2 out of 3 cards that we made at Stamp Club in April of 2024.